I aborted my baby because it had Down syndrome, and I told my husband I had a miscarriage. We have always wanted kids, but we weren't actively trying for a baby when I found out I was pregnant. I was actually on the pill, and we were still using condoms, so it's still crazy to me how I fell pregnant in the first place. We know we aren't financially stable enough for a baby right now, and I expected him to react badly to me telling him the news, but he was quite rational and said, "We will figure this out together. It's my decision what I do with my body." Just overall, very supportive. I decided that if he was willing to be more present at home, and that if we could make it work financially, then we will keep the baby, which we decided together that yes, we are having this baby. So fast forward a few weeks, I've had 2 scans done, one to confirm my pregnancy and another to just overall check baby's growth and health. After the second scan, something didn't feel right. I was getting really sick, and my stomach just felt really off, so I begged my doctors to give me another scan and check up, and it turns out my baby had Down syndrome. I can't even begin to explain the feeling of my blood turn cold in that moment. We definitely could not afford to have a baby with these complications. I went into pure panic mode and told the nurse right there and then that I don't want this baby. After a small talk of her trying to convince me to think about it first, offering me support numbers before I make a decision, I was adamant, so she booked me an appointment for an abortion. I went home that day and made up a lie saying that baby wasn't looking right and they want me in for another scan later in the week. That scan was an abortion. It was not a nice experience, worse than what was described to me, and the emotional pain I feel is disgusting. A few days later, I told my husband I had a miscarriage, and he comforted me and we spoke about it. I told him I wanted to forget about it all and move on, seeing as it wasn't far along at all, and we can try again for real when we are ready in a few years. I will never ever tell him what I did. In my best defense, it would have ruined our marriage, run us dry of money, and I don't think we should have agreed to keep a baby in the first place, because realistically we can't really afford it right now. We were planning to wait a couple more years, but it pains me knowing that if the baby didn't have Down syndrome, I would have kept it. I don't know how to feel, and I can't tell anyone. No one else even knows I was pregnant other than my husband, and I can never tell him that I got our baby aborted because it had Down syndrome. I know he said he supports my decision of keeping or not keeping a baby, but I feel like he would still hate me if he knew what I did. I hope one day I can forget about this and forgive myself. This happened 2 months ago, and it's haunting me.